What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 92 of Against the Blitz. I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. I know I sure as hell did. I know Austin did. We were doing our own thing that night. I feel like it's one of those events where you're better off enjoying it than having to rush and, talk about the one singular game that was played. It's like, we just enjoyed ourselves. That's what it's all about, right? Just kind of just enjoying things instead of feeling like we're on a grind all the time. So we're back. We are going to be talking about one question that every team has to answer this offseason. And we were talking before the show. I think we have a varying amount of questions, not amount, but type of questions, I should say, just hearing what you were kind of putting together.
Yeah, I mean, some are things that should be answered in the next couple weeks for some of these teams. Some can be answered in the draft. Some can be answered in free agency. And some we're not going to know until next season ends. So we have a pretty nice little variety of questions, but some kind of more simple. Some are a little bit more thought-provoking.
Yeah, I tried. I definitely have some that are like 4-word questions, and then others that are a little bit more in depth. And I think we're going to have some interesting conversation here because this is about as wide open as it can get, because you're talking about, some of the past, you're talking about, what they're going to be doing and how it, kind of influences the future. So this is about as clean slate as it gets. But if you want to join the discussion, of course, Discord link down in the description. I'll take it away with the first one. I'm going to start with the AFC East, and I'm going to start off with a hot question for you. The Buffalo Bills are the team I'm going to start with. Fitting. Okay. Assuming that these two players cost the same, if Buffalo could trade for Justin Jefferson or Maxx Crosby, who are you taking?
I'm going Jefferson. I'm easily going. I love Maxx Crosby. One, because I want the Bengals to have Maxx. I don't want you to have him. And two, I don't know. I feel like it's just a slap in the face to all Bills fans if they had a receiver or an edge rusher on the table and they didn't pick the receiver. Even though I think the world of Maxx. I'm his biggest fan. It would just be so tragic not to trade for a Hall of Fame level receiver while you can. Borderline coming into his prime.
I really thought about this because I see these stupid graphics being made all the time. It's like Justin Jefferson for, 3 first-round picks and AJ Epinesa. It's like, okay, dude, fuck off. just stop. But then I also am starting to see those kinds of things for Crosby, given the recent rumors that have come out about him not wanting to be there next season and all that. And I think if this season we weren't so sensitive to the receiver conversation, I think a lot more people would think about it more, because just a couple of years ago, we were in the same boat, it felt like, for the edge rusher position. And to be honest, it doesn't feel like that's been rectified either. There have been attempts, at least. So I'm asking myself, could I trust another year of Josh Allen with maybe, you would hope some improved talent at wide receiver, and then you go and get the freak on defense, and then you have one freak on offense, one freak on defense. Is that enough? And I almost want to say yes. I think I would get shot in the streets of Buffalo for saying yes, but I think I would take Crosby. I really do.
I don't blame you. I mean, it's probably the second most premium position in the league is to get a good pass rusher, especially one that's also an elite run defender. I wouldn't complain if I was a Bills fan. Just seeing what I've had running routes the last couple years, my best one being Shakir, consistently over 2 years, I would take the Hall of Fame receiver probably, and then just hope I can get a decent edge rusher somewhere else. But they have not proven they can find even a reasonable wide receiver the last 2 years. I can't do another Josh Palmer. I can't do it.
Well, that's kind of my thought process too. It's so much more reasonable to expect them to find something at receiver than it would be to find an edge rusher that is anywhere near the talent of Crosby. And that just is because of how scarce it is to have elite talent at that position, let alone, receiver, where it's kind of the opposite. We have what feels like 40 potential wide receiver ones in the NFL. I mean, that's a stretch, of course, but there are that many good players. Whereas at edge rusher, it's like, you're kind of really scratching and clawing to find a few guys that really are top shelf. So before everybody just were to say Justin Jefferson in the world of Buffalo, I feel like, I don't know. It would be interesting.
It would be. And I have a similarly framed question for the New York Giants, draft based. Do you take best player available, or do you feel an obligation to help out Jackson Dart and the offense?
I think that's tough. I think you do go and try to help out Jackson Dart. Last year, it was really Dart and Scatterboo just ramming their heads forward for as many yards as they possibly could get. And obviously Neighbors was hurt, but this is the guy you're investing in long term. If you want to divert him away from feeling like he has to be Superman, he has to do it all, and he's got to put his body on the line, then I think he has to feel like he can trust others around him a little bit more. Like, obviously his whole shtick at Ole Miss was kind of the same idea. Like, he's willing to fight for yards. He's willing to put his head down. But I think in the back of his mind too, if he's thinking, I can throw a bunch of RPOs and dump offs to extremely talented players, I think I'm okay with doing that more often than having to do it all myself and have Josh Allen syndrome. So I would try to avoid Dart feeling like the world is on his shoulders as much as possible.
I agree. Yeah. I asked because their mock position is pretty hard when doing mocks, just from a value standpoint. So that's one thing I do ask myself like every day when I'm trying to mock.
I think if Dart wasn't kind of a psycho, you could probably be like, yeah, we can kind of throw a dart at the board and walk away with any good player, because they are, as crazy as it sounds, a roster that is pretty well-rounded for the most part. So, yeah, but at the same time, I just, if you end up with another season of Dart the way that this past year went, then you got to start asking questions about what you can do to prevent that, because he's clearly their plan. So,
yeah. I like saying throw a dart at the board.
Oh, I didn't even.
That was nice.
That was so unintentional. I did not even realize I did that. Well, here's another question, quarterback related. A lot of these are for me just because it's just, these are the biggest questions. For the Dolphins, is it worth it for Miami to cut their losses with Tua?
I think so. I mean, he is one of those guys where, like, I could maybe see him going elsewhere and finding, top 21 quarterback kind of success, but just not right now, especially with just what we've seen today, even in their offensive hires. Bringing in Bobby Slowick. Who else have they brought in? Who else did they just bring in?
Kevin
Patullo.
Yeah.
Yes, and didn't they also bring in Nathaniel Hackett?
Yes.
Yes. So like it's like
that might have been. Was that the Jets, or did they? Was it the Dolphins?
I don't know.
One of them. It was one of them.
I think they brought in Hackett to the quarterback's coach.
Yes, one of them did.
Yeah. I mean, so either way, you got the two or three horsemen of awful offensive coaching. So I don't know. I think this is the time just to start fresh. If you can get some kind of pick from a trade with Tua, even if it's, day 3, I think you do it. Cut your losses, cut the money, just start fresh. See what you got with Ewers, or try a Malik Willis type quarterback. He's been like a very popular placement there, but I would be pretty shocked if Tua was there in 2026.
I think so too. I saw some articles suggesting that the money is just too overwhelming. Like the post June 1st designation would be like $61 million this year, and then like $30-ish million across the following year. So they get to spread it out. If it's pre-June 1st, it's like $100 million this year. So that's not happening. I just wonder to myself, is it worth, like, you go into this year and you already know we're in the rebuilding process. So you could, just, I guess, figure out what else you have. But at the same time, do you realistically think Quinn Ewers is the answer? No.
No,
So
I do not.
If you realistically feel that way, then you know, I don't know. It's really a lose-lose. Let's be honest here. There's no winning here. You cut the quarterback you paid for $1 gazillion, or you have to watch another year of him. What is the win?
I would rather do something new, honestly.
Yeah.
Like even if like speaking on my own team, even if I have a pretty shitty, like if I have a shitty safety, I'd rather cut him and let the shittier safety behind him play just to see if there's a chance. But like if there's a shitty player starting and he's been bad for me for a couple of years now, he seems like he's not a fan of this new thing. We're not a fan of him. I think you just cut ties and let him do something else.
That's fair. They also kind of just need a culture shift a little bit, and Tua's been heavily contributing to the questionable goings-ons of whatever they've been these past couple of years. So that I agree with.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll move on to the Philadelphia Eagles. This is more of a mindset thing. Do they think that they can still rapidly develop linemen without Stoutland there?
I'd have to imagine that they within the building do, because I think part of the breakup was Nick Sirianni and Stoutland arguing. I think Sirianni stripped him of some sort of play calling duty. I can't remember what the rumor was, but there was a decision made that made them believe that he wasn't doing a good enough job. And that obviously caused the rift. So they do believe that. Do we believe that this is going to work out? Absolutely not. I mean, we're looking at probably one of the most premium like sidekick coaches in the entire NFL right now.
Ever.
Ever. Literally.
Yes.
And because Nick Sirianni's got his panties in a bunch again, he thinks that they're going to find something better. And I think Philadelphia has a pretty spotty track record when it comes to replacing good coaches they've had in the previous year.
Yeah, I mean, I think now, especially with Landon Dickerson potentially retiring from all of his injuries and Lane Johnson likely out the window pretty soon, and the right guard spot still not quite settled down in yet. Cam Jurgens regressed. Mailata was like really the only thing that's been a super common positive that's going to be a positive for the next 3 years. So they have a lot of development to do. And before, you were just like, okay, we'll draft a guy a year before we need him, and then redshirt him, get him really good, and then just next man up. But I don't feel that good about that anymore. And their offensive line was half the reason they won a Super Bowl. Offensive line and defense. And right now it's just the defense, and they were even kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, the fall from grace in the trenches for Philadelphia is coming quick. Like we all knew that doomsday comes for any great organization, but it feels like this is just coming a lot faster than it has to. And I feel like we had a discussion months ago about how Philadelphia really could have been one of the best teams, maybe a dynasty in NFL history, like given the talent that they've had over the course of the last few seasons and how much better they truly are than everybody else on paper. It's pretty disappointing that they haven't been, a true dynasty, or at least had 3 or 4 Super Bowl appearances. Like they are that good on paper, but they just continue to fuck things up from a coaching staff standpoint, and not good.
It's not good.
Well, I know how you feel about this, but because it's a hot topic, I have to ask. For the New England Patriots, should they just say fuck it and throw Will Campbell inside, or do they give him one more shot at offensive tackle?
I think they're definitely going to give him another shot at tackle. I mean, I don't know. It's tricky because he's so young, but at the same time, like he doesn't have like traits to bet on. Like usually like a shitty rookie tackle, you're like, okay, but he has a great frame and he's a really good athlete. If we can just get those things to work together, we have a really good lineman here. But with Will Campbell, I'm just like, he's not big. He's not that athletic. He has no length. I don't know. Like I feel like all of his best things are just his grittiness and at times his technique, which just that makes me feel like he's a better inside fit than he is an outside fit. But this free agent class sucks. in terms of tackles. Like you can't do like a Cam Robinson thing. So I think they have no choice but to stick with him at left tackle because of where they're drafting from. But I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, it's hard to feel good about it right now. That's for sure. Like, you have to wonder how much of what we saw was because of the knee injury. Like, I saw some people really thinking it made a difference. But you make a fair point too. It's like, what is the ceiling truly with Will Campbell at tackle? It's like, even with Joe Tooney, he is best. He can play tackle, but in theory, you'd rather him play inside because that's where he's at his best, and he's a better lineman. And then you find somebody to play outside. Just because he can do it doesn't mean he necessarily should be. So it's a very intriguing discussion, especially because I feel like he set himself up like to be either a star or this at the start of his career when he was drafted, and he said, I would do anything to kill, to protect Drake May and all that. It's like he kind of put himself in a JJ McCarthy position well in advance, and it's crumbled, which is unfortunate because usually like when guys talk like that, it goes better, at least. Like Tyler Booker was like a nutcase, and that's gone well.
Yeah. But even him, like he's long arms, he's unbelievably powerful, crazy grizzly bear anchor. Like there's things about him where you're like, yes, guard, high upside at guard. But with Will Campbell, I'm just like, I'm just not seeing the trait outside of his personality. Really, I don't see any like franchise tackle traits. I think he can survive. I think he can tread out there, but I'm not seeing a guy where you're like, yes, super successful 4th overall pick in the draft. Like that's where I'm not really seeing it. I think the ceiling is higher on the inside. I could see a situation where he becomes a top 10 interior player. Potentially. I really don't ever think that we'll see a top 10 tackle like ever out of him.
I think I could agree with that, especially just given like we look at who the top tackles are in the NFL, and they're your Lane Johnsons, they're your Trent Williams. They're guys that just can stand there and punch an edge rusher in the mouth, and they are stonewalled. It's like you're never going to get that. Like Will Campbell could do a good job, but he will be getting pushed into quarterbacks, into pockets more often, even if he does hold his ground. Like that's just the nature of his size. And I wanted to expand on this slightly because you're smarter than me, and you are very smart when it comes to this kind of stuff. I saw like the whole arm length thing. The more I read into it, the more I didn't think it was a problem because I saw a lot of people that I follow say it's more about like his wingspan and his shoulders.
Yes.
Like that's
100%.
what's important.
Yes. Like, so that's what I've been trying to say for a long time. It's not arm length. Like you can have 32s, but have a decent wingspan. Like I believe off the top of my head, Will Campbell has like maybe like a 10 percentile arm length. Like it's short, but it's not like criminal. But his wingspan is like 2%. Like it's unbelievably outlier low because not only are his arms a hair below average, well below average, his shoulders are really narrow, which just takes away even more inches away from him being able to reach out and touch somebody first. So on a lot of these long arms we're seeing from players like Derek Hall, who has 34-inch arms and a broad wingspan, he can touch him before Will Campbell even has a chance to be anywhere near him. Like it's a huge leverage disadvantage when the edge rusher can get their arm into your chest before you even have a chance to tickle him. It's very unideal to start with, and you can counter it with like really good technique, really fast hands. But I don't think he has that either. So it is a problem because he doesn't have that technique.
Right. Yeah. It just leaves you susceptible to so many moves for a defensive end. Like you are going to have to worry about the outside so much because of your skinnier shoulders. And when you look at Will Campbell versus even like his opposite tackle, Morgan Moses, right?
Yes.
They are not that far off in terms of a height and weight perspective. So when you hear Will Campbell is undersized, some people are like, well, he's 6'6", 320 or whatever he is. It's like that doesn't mean he's not undersized. That doesn't mean he's not as strong. Like, you can just physically look at these two humans and see a significant difference in what they look like in their build. Like, there's a lot more than just a height and weight or even an arm length to what makes a successful lineman. And I feel like this whole discourse has been positive for a lot of reasons, even if some of it has been misinformed. It's getting people talking about a position that not a lot of fans really understand. I mean, including myself. Like, I learned so much just because of this debate, and I feel like it's a pretty healthy conversation.
Yeah. I mean, you make a really good point about, like, if you look at ESPN, they are similar size, but like in terms of actual reach, completely different. Because Will Campbell, I believe he has like 32s, whereas Morgan Moses is working with like 35.5-inch arms. And you might say, like, on paper, like 3 inches isn't that big, but like, ask your girlfriend, bro. Like, 3 inches does matter. Like, I'm telling you, like, when you're talking about reaching out, imagine 3 inches longer on you. That's huge. And then with wingspan, you also have wider shoulder. Like, it does matter. So I do think it will be a problem over his career.
Yeah. Yeah, I think something we all can agree on is, even if it can work out, the ceiling just might not be worth trying to get there.
Yes.
So,
that's kind of where I'm at. It's like just the ceiling's not there.
For sure.
But another question that I felt this for a little bit, but the Washington Commanders, heavy run team, they run a lot and they run well, but should they add an actual premium running back to add to a team that likes to run the ball so much?
I think so. The Commanders are a team that they utilize Jaden Daniels so frequently, and I think we saw what, I'm not going to call Jaden Daniels like an archetype of Lamar. Like, I still think they're different quarterbacks through and through, but in terms of what brought out the best in Lamar, I still will never forget that wild card game against the Steelers a couple of years ago. That was the scariest offense I've seen in my entire life. And I think in order to get the best out of what I think will always be a kind of a gimmicky offensive approach, even if Cliff Kingsbury leaves, like, when you have Jaden Daniels, you're going to want the ball in his hands, and you're going to want to get as creative as you can with him. And when you have like Chris Rodriguez or, you know, the industry plant of the year in the backfield, like, you're just not getting, you're never going to get the most out of Daniels. So, I mean, going into this offseason, like, they do need some receiver talent. They could use some help on offensive line. They certainly they can use help anywhere. So this would probably be a little bit further down the list. But overall, when you get to the point where your roster feels like it's prepared, I think that will have to be a priority in order to get the best out of Jaden.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I've never seen a mock with Jeremiah 11-7, but I could talk myself into
it. You're going with that. Yeah, okay.
I could talk myself into it.
It would be interesting. I could too. I mean, I certainly would not feel nearly as gross about Love at 7 as I did about Genty at 6. I'll say that much.
Yes, I actually would agree with that. Like, they have something there to support it.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. And I know we would probably get like shit on for saying, "Oh, how could you possibly say that Love at 7 is a good pick, but 6 for Genty is bad?" It's like,
because he's a better prospect.
Yeah, he might just be.
They're similar.
Watch it. I can't wait.
They're super similar levels. It's just they're just such a better team to accept a young, good running back. Like, they're ready for one. The Raiders just were not ready for one.
Yeah, I don't.
It's not Genty's fault.
I don't know how that was even fucking debatable. That was an unbelievable
not his
conversation. No, it's not. But Ken Walker might be better than him now.
Maybe.
He is. Respect Ken Walker. The New York Jets, the final team of the division. Another quarterback question. What would be your approach to the quarterback situation for the Jets this offseason? What the hell do you even do with this?
Punt. I'm punting. You have so many first round picks. Like, maybe if like a Ty Simpson slides, you could talk me into it, but like, they're gonna suck this year regardless. Like, I am not super worried about trying to like scramble and find my guy this year. They have 1 million draft picks. They have a lot of cap space. Like, I'm willing just to like make a really good team and then find my quarterback next year, which it's stupid because people say that every single year and like everyone always just wants to wait another year to find their quarterback, but this really feels like the team and like the free agency / draft class to do it, because if not, you're doing like the Malik Willis, Tyler Huntley, like maybe Kyler Murray. I could talk myself into that, but really, other than Kyler Murray, nothing else would get me remotely excited for them.
I am starting to wonder why. I mean, even though the Browns did it in a very interesting fashion, but when you're in this purgatory of quarterbacks, why not just kind of stockpile on a bunch of random ass dudes and just throw them out there and see what happens? Like, I feel like the Jets are in a position to kind of do that.
Yeah, just don't draft two of them. Like, don't draft one in the third. Like,
both. Yes.
Yeah, but like if you have cap space and you can get like multiple, high upside Trey Lance type guys where like they could be good. Maybe try and like be the team that can turn around an Anthony Richardson or like Kyler Murray or one of these guys with tools that just hasn't like hit yet. I wouldn't mind that. I like that a lot better than just trying to force a young rookie that isn't Mendoza into their week one, or investing in like heavy capital or money to get one of these free agents. I would just take a couple swings.
Agreed. I mean, I think there are a lot more backups in the NFL where I'm not going to say they're good, but there are a lot where I'm like, I would rather entertain this than, you said, a rookie. Like, there are not even like, I feel like the Malik Willis's, the Daniel Joneses, like those are too premium for this discussion. We're talking like
Agreed.
The Sam Howells, we're talking the Richardsons, we're talking like the Spencer Rattlers. Like there's a good chunk of guys. Kirk Cousins, even like what does he got left?
Like, just try something. Like, this is not a Super Bowl year. We know that for a fact. You just traded away like two of your best players, and Breece Hall's probably leaving in free agency. Like, be smart.
This feels like they're just gonna go and get the offensive rookie and defensive rookie of the year again for it to mean absolutely nothing.
They do it every year.
What a sad turn of events.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that Quinnen Williams trade, I have the Cowboys next. And do you think that they maintain that like mid-season aggressiveness they had, or do you think they go back to like that conservativeness they had preseason last year?
Oh man, I think Jerry Jones is realizing he might be dead soon. So he has made comments over the last like 2 months where it kind of gave the urgency vibe of like, I want to win as many as I can, before I'm gone. Like that was kind of his sentiment. So I'm starting to think that this is going to be an ultra aggressive, Mickey Loomis-esque approach of just like trying to kick the cap as far back as they can, getting as much talent as they can find, and trying to win every single day that Mr. Jerry Jones is alive. So I think before, a lot of the ways that Jerry has been conservative, I don't know. Is he just cheap? Does he just think he's smarter than everybody? I don't know. But at this point, I think he's going to be willing to pay up and mortgage the future.
I agree. I think that's kind of what we're looking. So if you want to trade for Hendrickson, we'll do it. Tag and trade, baby. We'll do it.
Hendrickson and Ezraku. That would be a fun duo.
Be cool. That would be kind of cool, actually.
Most they got over there at edge rusher. It's really.
They might bring back Clowney, or
they
have fucking not a whole lot.
Yeah, Overshown's more of a. Does he play off ball more?
Ball. He's more. He's like 225. Yeah, he's off ball.
Okay. Well, AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh boy, one of the sorriest groups of people in the world right now. And I ask this: would you rather go into 2026 with Aaron Rodgers again, or try out Will Howard to see what he's got?
By far, Rodgers.
Really?
I don't think the world of Will Howard, unfortunately. I just see like an average athlete that's old and doesn't have a crazy arm, and he had a Hall of Fame level receiving core, and he wasn't even that productive with it. I don't know. I'm just Rodgers got them to the playoffs. They didn't do a lot to give him anything though. They were like 14 personnel with this nepo baby Hayward, and like Kenneth Gainwell will be your best weapon when like outside of DK. Like they didn't really try that hard to support him either. And all things considered, like if Will Howard probably does as good as I think he possibly could do, it's probably as good as Rodgers just did. Is kind of what I'm feeling. Like there also is the possibility that Will Howard goes for like 8 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Like that could happen as well. So I think at peak, you're getting like a Jacoby Brissett type guy, but Jacoby Brissett type guy is what Rodgers just did. So I think I'm sticking with that.
Wow. I mean, I think they will ultimately because of who they hired. But I just can't. If I was a fan of Pittsburgh, I'm not going to sit here and convince myself that somehow there is like AFC championship potential with Will Howard starting.
No.
But at least like I would rather, for the sake of my sanity and feeling like I'm not watching Groundhog Day, just see something that I know is going that could potentially just be terrible. Like I would be happily accepting a miserable season if Will Howard goes out there and
so
is
hard.
that bad. Like I would.
I get that from an entertainment standpoint. Well, the overwhelming choice would be Plan C, which is just anyone else. Like if I was a Steelers fan, I would want my quarterback right now to not be in Pittsburgh. I would want him to be via trade or the draft or free agency. Like I would rather take a swing on anything else, but 6th-round rookie with like no tools or 50-year-old quarterback that kind of hates everybody. Like the options there are not for me. Like I would rather go. I am usually with the Plan B and not stick with Rodgers, but I'm not a big Will Howard fan, so I would like to go elsewhere if I could.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question along the lines of like getting rid of the older guys on the defensive side of the ball, but anybody in their right mind would say, yeah, they should be dealing them. But unfortunately, the Steelers are the one group of people that won't be doing that. So there's really nothing to even expand on when it comes to that conversation. It's like, we know what they're going to do. No one agrees with it. And that's kind of the end of it.
Yeah. Well, a quick one for the Detroit Lions. Also more of a mindset thing. If they had a disappointing season, they came up short of the playoffs entirely, but they had some injuries and a hard schedule. So, like, do you think that they understand that? And do you think they try to run back a very similar team? Or do you think they try to make another kind of dramatic change for maybe an edge rusher, maybe another defensive player to like try and jump levels?
I think they stick with the former mindset purely because I think Dan Campbell is in his own mind at like DEFCON 2 or 3. He has made comments along the lines of you can't just say there's always next year because you cannot guarantee you return to where you got to. And that's kind of like been so true for the Lions of all teams since their collapse. So I think this is with the loss of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Now they saw what the season looked like. Despite the injuries, I think he knew that things were kind of getting really shaky. He took over play calling. Like he's going to go into it one more year thinking, okay, my approach has worked. It was a little rough last year for XYZ. If it doesn't turn around the deadline this year, then I think we might see some real angst. And I'm not even saying like a mindset shift in terms of we have to try something different. Dan Campbell strikes me as the kind of guy to start kind of freaking the fuck out. And like, who knows what can happen. Like he's always been a stable culture guy, but I don't know. He could start to kind of panic a bit, I think.
Yeah.
Well, the Ravens are a team in a very interesting situation. And I kind of, I want to avoid the elephant in the room, but if you were the Ravens GM, what position are you prioritizing this offseason? And I feel like there's one clear answer.
But people usually go wide receiver. It's probably going to be pass catchers for as long as I live. However, I think right guard is probably the one that I have to do to get Falele out of my room. In my mocks, it's usually somewhere along like the defensive front seven, usually defensive tackle, usually maybe a pass rusher. But in terms of who they have to replace, dramatically, I am the first person that I'm getting is a right guard. He can be average. Like I'm not like putting all my marbles into an elite one. I am just replacing that one first.
Yeah, I wonder if is Ben Cleveland. Ben Cleveland isn't a free agent, is he? Will this
I don't think
finally
they
be
want
his
his
chance?
ass either.
No, they don't. But
I don't think he's starting a football game ever again.
how hilarious would it be if John Harbaugh brought Falele with him? I mean, there's no way. I think that would confirm our suspicion about how Harbaugh favored his players.
I mean, they had him in the room. They had Evan Neal right there, but they allowed him to become a free agent. But like, if they brought back Evan Neal just to be their Falele, stick him at right guard, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing, just drafted earlier. But I feel like I could see it happen.
The other kind of, I've kind of asked this to you before, but I wanted to also ask about Baltimore. Should the Ravens try to protect Lamar from himself if he clearly can't stay on the field and, kind of stay healthy?
I guess. Like, I think there is an element to using his legs for good, but it's just, it just feels like it feels like a lot of these injuries are freak. Like it's not like RG3 injuries where like him running is clearly just resulting in him being demolished and like his legs are getting snapped under him. Like it doesn't feel like that. Like it just feels like kind of Burrow-y type injuries where like he just touches the football so much he's bound to get hurt. So maybe, yes, like we'd like to lean on our run game more, maybe more traditional passing concepts, less like designed QB runs, but I still do think he is so dangerous because he can run. And like him as an actual passer with no threat of legs is pretty average.
Especially when he's throwing to, I mean, Zay Flowers was fine, but other than that, it's like.
Other than that, yeah, no likely. He disappeared off the face of the earth. That was dumb. Like, they do need to help him more. Rashad Bateman being receiver 2 can't cut
it. Or the extension of Mark Andrews running around, like the ghost of the money that they gave him.
Whatever he is, yeah. Newly paid.
Yeah, as of December.
Ew. Well, my next one, similar situation type team, but the Green Bay Packers. What is your first step to getting out of like that good purgatory? They're not like playoff bubble, but they're like not good enough to like probably get to like the championship game or win it, but they're good enough to get there. So like, how do you get out of that?
I historically am, I don't want to say anti-Jordan Love, but he is my prime example of what a bozo gene quarterback looks like. Him and CJ Stroud, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Although I think in Green Bay situation, Matt LaFleur has done an excellent job trying to elevate the offense and put Love in a situation where he doesn't have to, there aren't as many opportunities for him to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But then again, Love is such a high octane passer. It's almost like playing goalie in hockey, where sometimes you get the best out of a goalie when he is getting 35, 40 shots and having to stop a lot of pucks per game. It sometimes can get a little bit shakier when you're only getting, 15 to 24 and the high scoring chances are fewer, but you might let that one high scoring chance in and then all of a sudden your performance looks worse than if you let one of 3 in. So if you're a quarterback like Jordan Love, you have more opportunities to pass downfield more often. You might make 2 or 3 more great passes, and then that bad interception might feel a little bit more bearable, or that bad decision might be like, okay, yeah, but he also did this in the game. Giving him more opportunities, I feel like, would raise their ceiling, even if the floor goes down.
Yeah, I agree with that. So you got to get rid of the quarterback.
Yes, get rid of the fucking idiot that just can't see. But I've been harsh on him. There's a lot that I think he can be I just don't really believe that it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But who knows?
That's fair. Sadly.
Well, for the Cleveland Browns, if you in your chair right now morphed into the man of Todd Monken and Cleveland can't attract quarterback talent after they traded for Kenny Pickett, drafted 2 quarterbacks last year, and signed Joe Flacco, and your clear best option on the roster in your first season at 60 years old, do you do it?
There's two it's here. There's Deshaun Watson and there is Shadur Sanders.
There is 2 it's. There is. That is hilarious.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
I meant the former. The former it.
Yeah. I don't think well, he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that is like that lets that shit fly. I don't know. But I don't know this guy at all. I'm just guessing. But I don't know. Being on the Ravens, being on the other side of like hating on Deshaun probably in the locker room for like the last 4 years, I don't think he could do it. I feel like you're gonna have to stick with Shadur. The fans still like him. He has like these like book talk type things that are written about him daily. They're so weird. These like novels that people on Twitter are writing about him, like fan fiction. But I think it'll be him. I think I'm pretty confident that he will be the quarterback that starts the most games for them in 2026.
The reason I asked, I had a different question until I saw a report about Monken talking about it or him. And it basically was along the lines of Todd Monken being intrigued by Deshaun Watson, who is now healthy, and he's interested about seeing more. So
I'm
open to it.
I'm interested in seeing whichever quarterback they put out there. Like, I hate every single one of them that they have. So, by all means, put them all out there. Let them get demolished. That's cool. They have no linemen like on the roster.
Literally, all 5 of their starting linemen are UFAs.
Yeah, so. I hope so, because I mean, there's potential where they don't bring back Conklin, Teller, Bitonio, maybe Pokic too. Like they might be down, like all of them. I'm not even kidding. So, by all means, run them out there. See what happens.
This might be the most interested in a bad quarterback situation the world has ever been.
Yeah, it's a fun like burn to watch because I've grown up hating this team almost for the same reasons. Like they just cannot figure out the quarterback room, and they always sign like 3 to 4 guys. Oh, this time Kevin Hogan will do it. This time Cody Kessler, Deshaun Kaiser, they'll all do it. They'll never do it. Baker was the only one, and they kicked him out. So to hell with you all. I do not wish you well. All right, for my next one, the Vikings. Is there any way that we can try to improve JJ, or are we just gonna pray? Like, can we draft more weapons or running backs or anything, or do we just hope it clicks?
Oh boy, I think they have no choice but to hope it clicks. If I were there, I have to have a backup option. And I'm not talking about I'm not even talking about a Jacoby Brissett as much as I love him. I'm talking about a backup option that you could say, all right, maybe this is, I guess, the future. And that's where these other quarterbacks come in where, like the Malik Willis's, for example, like it would be tough to kind of spin that though, simply because he probably wants to start. And then you're really in a pinch. But like Spencer Rattler is the idea I think of when I think of this team. And when we were talking about Tua earlier, I also thought if there was one other play caller in the league that could potentially find some system that works for Tua, it would be Kevin O'Connell. Like that would be another option where if JJ McCarthy just really isn't looking great, even if you're winning games the way that, Kirk Cousins and the Falcons were a couple of years ago, but it looked so fucking awful the whole time. You just need to have something to fall on where you're like, okay, I know at the end of the year this expires, but at least we have this for the long term. I don't know, man. It's such a hell situation. Like, what an awful turn of events.
can't believe I heard you say Brissett. Not good
Yeah.
enough. Malik Willis though,
Well, it's
you've
more
been
of
his champion.
an age thing. It's definitely an
Yeah,
age
he's like
thing.
he's like 30 plus. I get that. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it's I was trying to like also improve them in when I mock drafts, and I'm just like, damn, they have receivers, they have tight ends, they have they don't have running backs, but they're pretty easy to find. It's like, damn, like it's just hoping that he's good enough. Really, that's all it is.
it is.
They're a good
like,
team around him.
And last year they were so ill prepared for what happened. Like Carson Wentz just was never what they needed in case McCarthy was bad or in case McCarthy got hurt. And they rode him into the ground to the point where he was like writhing in pain every time he threw a pass. Like we just needed something that there was a little bit more confidence in. And I think they need to approach this season similar to how the Colts approached last year, where you have two guys in camp, maybe you even have a full-on quarterback competition, but even if you don't, you at least have two guys where you're like, all right, if this goes south, we have this to try. And you could have hope where, you bring in, like I said, a Brissett. It's like, at the end of the year, this is going to expire. So it kind of feels pointless, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, they can get their own Daniel Jones. He's available.
He is. I think he's going to stay with Indianapolis, though.
I think so, but I bet it's tempting.
Oh, did you ask that question? Oh, yeah, you
Yes,
did. The Bengals are the final team in the North. And this isn't even really an offseason question. It's something that I thought, and I'm like, you know what? I think it could happen. Could you, even in the current state of the Bengals, see them being a Super Bowl contender next year? Even if there are small changes, there isn't any big swing or big acquisition, could what they are be enough?
I think with if we're talking like a reasonable offseason, yes. Because the defense they have, like with the flashes we saw at the end of the season from DJ Turner's and Miles Murphy's and Jordan Battles, there is enough. If we can bring in a couple quality starters, I think yes. It's like the offense very much is a Super Bowl caliber offense. Like I don't think that's up for debate. But I think if they can get enough to get them to an average defense, then yes. If they'll do that or not, that's the problem, because they've only been signing like the Nick Scotts of the world, and they haven't been doing that. But if they can find 3 to 4 reasonable starters, I think they could.
I agree. Like I even asked myself, with what they were last year, as bad as it was for a better part of the season, like it wasn't the worst. Like they were still competing when Burrow got hurt, but when he's healthy, like they're still good enough to put up enough points to compensate for it. And we just saw quite possibly the worst field of AFC postseason teams in the last 10 years. I think the Bengals probably could have been in the Super Bowl if they were healthy and they got into the postseason. Like all they would have had to do was make it.
Yeah. They almost beat the Patriots with no Burrow, Chase, or Hendrickson. They lost to him by a score with that. It was a bad crop, and the Chiefs are still not there, even though they've never really been a huge threat to the Bengals for some reason. The Ravens are probably the one team that consistently gives them fits, but even then, we don't know what's up with them. It's not a super scary thing right now, the AFC as a whole. So I do believe if they will put in the work and put in the money, and they're able to find a couple good starters and make this a top 18 defense, I think, they could be, because this also is the best passing offense in the league when it's healthy. It's just keeping that healthy and then actually finding good starters. That's the problem.
Yeah. And I mean, I think this is the lowest we felt about every team that had an elite quarterback, with Mahomes being out for a better part of the next year, the start of next year, we presume. And who knows with Lamar and the Ravens, there's just so much unknown this year. I confidently feel like I could say they would have probably beaten the Bills in the postseason. I think they beat everybody else that was out there. They could have been in the Super Bowl. What a
which is insane.
Thought. What a nasty.
Which is insane. Because their D played a lot better at the end. I don't think people understand how bad it was to begin with. They cut that in half almost, which is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of similarly with the Bears, I kind of was wondering, like, they don't have a lot of offseason questions really, but just like, do you just go into this draft just drafting straight defense? Like, do you just try and make a top 10 defense out of this? Do you even really worry about the offense that much?
I don't think so. You had one glaring problem, and that was stopping the run. They were in a Billsy way, very fortunate with turnovers a lot of the season. And I think the whole fraudulent thing was a little overblown, but the defensive front was just not, it just wasn't good enough. They would be smart to invest as much as they can into the defensive line. And I remember seeing Ben Johnson mouth something on the sideline, and the camera caught it. And he was saying we should have won for it after I think he decided to punt or kick a field goal in a kind of like no man's land type situation. And he was caught after saying should have went for it. He knows. Yeah. He knows. So I think all of that focus has to be in the front seven.
I agree with that.
Would you go AFC, NFC North? Oh, no, you finished. That was the last team in the North, right?
Yep.
AFC West. How about this? The Kansas City Chiefs, given Mahomes' knee injury, Rice's off the field issues, Simmons missing time for undisclosed reasons, Worthy sucking, not having a running back, having the fifth most UFAs and the least amount of cap space, is Brett Veach managing for his job over the next couple months?
Potentially. Yeah. I mean, he started off hot, and they were just trying to, like, I've talked about this before, but they were just trying to maintain the team they had. They weren't trying to build off of it. And as we saw injuries or guys aging or guys leaving, a couple of those picks didn't hit, and their weaknesses are really showing now. And especially with, like you said, possible injuries or legal troubles or just players being bad. Yeah, I think that he took what could have been a genuine Patriots level dynasty and kind of watered it down. And they still have potential in it to create that again. Mahomes is still there, and there's a really good foundation for our defense and an offensive line, but they're just not scary. No one's scared of them anymore. And if Mahomes misses extensive time, like, they probably won't make the playoffs again this year. So we might not get till like 2027 to 2028 till we're like scared of the Chiefs again.
Yeah, I mean, this roster is bad. Like,
yeah,
top to bottom there. Chris Jones probably has an argument for MVP every season just because of how weak it really is across the board on that side of the ball. Yet every season they are playing well. They're stingy, especially against the run, and it's quite amazing that they're able to do that. Obviously, Spags plays a part, but like the weight that Chris Jones carries, and he's getting old. Like, once that starts to wean out, they're really fucked. They're really in trouble.
Great. For my next team, this is one of my favorite ones. The Falcons.
Oh boy.
Do you just treat this like James Pierce is gone? Like, do you just draft a new edge? Like, he might go to prison for like a long time. Like, this isn't your usual like Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs thing. Like, he tried to like run over a cop. Like, this was like a serious big thing. Like, do you just treat his position now like it's a void?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and compare all situations. And I fully believe Deshaun Watson was guilty. But there somehow, some way in the world of legal and business, it seemed to dissipate enough. This, like, I mean, he's getting, there are stalker charges. He, like you said, ran over a cop. He's resisting arrest. It's on video. Like, it is going to be so hard for this to work out. I think yes. The short answer is yes. I just don't think you can do it this year. You traded up to get him, and now he's gone. You can't, I wouldn't at least just dive right back in and say, all right, we need something else to replace that. You have to replace him, of course, but using premium capital like they did, not that they even really have it, but to try and recuperate, I think you just got to fill the hole for now and worry about it down the line. Like you got a new coach in the room, a quarterback that's you don't know about him in the future. You generated pressure from other guys too, so maybe you just try to build off of that. But I don't know how this guy makes it out of this. He's got to be gone.
He was a big help to that though, man. Like cleaning up sacks, like he was their best sack artist. I mean, even like guys like Brandon Dorless, like we saw some guys really show up, but to just miss your first round pick, like that's a big deal. Like this isn't just like some fourth round pick that was pretty good. Like they traded away this year's first for him. He was basically this year's first round pick for them, and he's already like probably going to be unavailable for a while. So I would be worried.
Oh yeah, I would be shit myself. Well, the Broncos have an interesting situation that I feel like isn't negative or a bad thing necessarily, but with Jaquan McMillan's breakout and nobody in the secondary being a UFA, what does Denver do with Jahdae Barron? Because at the end of the season, I'm not sure if anybody really knew, but his snap count was kind of cut pretty big, and it ended up being because of an undisclosed injury, but he really didn't play much of the season to begin with.
I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day, but I think it's just more packages. Like I think it's less having guys like McMillan or Moss on the field for like 99% of snaps. I think there are times where you can just wean both of those guys off, because I think Barron can kind of play a mixture of both of those roles. I think he can play slot, he can play perimeter. I think you just have him come in more. Just have him come in and be fresh. I don't think that he has to have his own specialized role. I think you just rotate those spots a little bit more. And I think that keeps everybody fresh, and it just lets you get your first round pick more reps, because that's really, really important.
I wonder if, because Riley Moss has got to be like one of the biggest liabilities to step on the field every week.
Yes.
I wonder if they really just, because they play a lot of man coverage, of course. I wonder if they really just don't think he can handle man coverage reps against some of the corners they play man against. Because I feel like there were so many times this year where it's like, dude, they're deliberately attacking Riley Moss. Like it's an every week occurrence. So why at some point wouldn't they try something else? They just never did.
Yeah, like every time it's T. Higgins on Moss. Like I can go to the bathroom because I know they're scoring a touchdown. It's every single time. Like it's nasty. It's really nasty. So yeah, I feel bad for the guy, but I think it's time where you can lessen his role and you can still use him in those kind of situations. But like when it's clearly and obvious going to be a pass, third and long situations, you can just rotate the guy in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's good to have this kind of depth, but it feels like a waste a bit for now.
Yeah, it does. But I just don't think that we need all of our DBs playing 100% snap shares. Like I think that we can rotate outside of Pat. I think that we can keep rotating.
Yeah, agreed.
For my next one, is it insane if the Panthers draft a wide receiver in the first round for 3 straight years? They still need one. Like they don't have a complete room.
It would be absolutely hysterical. Would it be insane? No. I think by definition it might be, because the definition is, you keep doing something. That's the definition of insanity. But I don't think anybody can blame them, because like you said, they simply need one. I think they'd be better off at this point, like just trading the pick away and getting their like AJ Brown on draft day type of thing instead. But like drafting one, I could see it. But honestly, maybe it is insane. Go fucking trade for someone that you know is good. Stop with the bullshit. I think that's where I'm at.
Every time I mock, I'm like Mekhi Lemon sitting right there, man. Like that will round out this room. Like let Tet McMillan develop another year. Have our slot, and then have Jalen Coker over there. That's cool. Like we got a good room over that. That's a good room to me. But if you leave it up to the gods and you're just like, all right, let's go again. Try it out, buddy. Jimmy Horn, let's try this out, buddy. Even though he like lost them their entire season. Like I don't know, man. I think it would be hard to not, because their defense showed flashes of like being pretty good. Their defense won them more games than their offense did. I don't want people to get that twisted. So like their defense, I feel pretty good about. Like a couple more free agents, and I really like it overall. Offensively, like I think they still got work, and they're losing Dowdle, so even more work. And I think receiver might be it might be a really big need, a slot type guy.
I wonder if I feel like you have to trade for one though. Like even if
That's
Kyle
fine.
Lemon like ideally feels like it works, you're just in a position where your young quarterback needs that veteran presence. It's like that blueprint that we all raved about years ago, where you get your young quarterback, your veteran wide receiver one, and then that's how you develop them.
Yeah.
And Bryce hasn't really had that. He's been given talent, but he's never been given like a Stephon Diggs or a Justin Jefferson. Or it's obviously
True.
hard to come by that. But if you want Bryce Young to work, maybe it's time to stop being, I guess, cheap in a way and pay up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Speaking of trading, the Las Vegas Raiders have the first overall pick. Would you entertain the idea of trading out of it?
I would. It depends, obviously, what kind of cookie we're getting out of that, but like we're not getting a Burrow, Trevor Lawrence level prospect here. Mendoza's good. I like him. But I would not cry myself to sleep every night if, we traded back a little bit and we got like a slew of picks and probably like a good player too. It would take a lot. Like we're not doing this just for like one more first. It's going to take a lot. But I don't know, man. Like it would be really hard on the fans to just tell them like, hey, I know you've been already buying Mendoza jerseys and we just had Geno Smith. We haven't had a good quarter. Like we had like 2 good years of Derek Carr and then like nothing else since like the 90s. But sorry, we're going to kick it back another year and hope that this works. Like I think that you have to do quarterback this year. There's just no other good quarterbacks behind him that like could make you maybe talk yourself into it. Unfortunately, it's just I think you got to pick him.
Yeah, the other options, and this goes for every team, like that we've been discussing, are just so non-inspiring. It makes it really difficult to even think about it. Although I do think to some extent, is Mendoza like compared to Bryce Young and what he got for Chicago, like do you think that package would be about what Mendoza's first pick is going to be worth?
I think Mendoza is a better prospect. Like I don't know if I fully know how to answer what he would get, but
yeah,
I think in terms of level, I think he is a little bit better than Bryce. A little bit better than Bryce was. It just so depends on like that desperation that a team has. Because even in that draft, you had Stroud right behind you.
Yeah,
and then also most people had Stroud at QB1. And even then, there were QBs that were on the level of an Anthony Richardson, where you're like, okay, I could talk myself into this like really cool project. There isn't that this year. It's Ty Simpson, who is talented, but like no upside. Like there's not a lot of quarterbacks that you can like really talk yourself into trading out of Mendoza for. Like I could have easily taken Stroud or even Richardson as a consolation prize back then, but in this draft, no, I don't see it.
That's fair. It's crazy to put that into context. Like they traded a haul for that pick to get Bryce when those other guys were there. Even if they've, there's a lot of question marks around him now. I still think like you're better off escaping with whatever those outcomes are than this hamster wheel that they're running on right now.
He has been the better. Stroud's better, but he's been the better player anyways. Like probably is still.
Yeah, I agree. The Chargers. This is an interesting one. Does Los Angeles need to make any big talent moves on defense to avoid a fall off after going from Jesse Minter to Chris O'Leary?
Maybe. I do think a lot of the secondary kind of has been a little masked in terms of like corners and possibly free safety. I don't really know outside of Derwin which of those guys are like scheme transcendent studs in the NFL. I think the pass rush looks good. The interior defensive line, they might also want to take a look at. Man, I don't know. Like it is a good defense on paper, even outside of Minter. But I probably would take a look at my corners and just see if they are, healthy for the next defensive coordinator.
Not a Tony Jefferson guy.
No, not particularly. And I mean, his age 34 season. I like him. He's a good player.
Yeah,
he's just old as shit.
He retired and came back, and I think this was probably the best season of his career, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, he is 34. Yeah, that's nuts.
But yeah, I'm interested to see how this unit performs because they're weird in terms of it's hard to tell how much of the talent was being uplifted by Minter, because I think over the past couple of years we've seen guys, especially like you said in the secondary, play above expectation. But then again, maybe they just are good football players. Like I guess we'll see this year for sure.
We will. Because a lot of them were playing above like their draft weight, like Tarheeb Still and Cam Hart. Like they weren't drafted overly high. Like even like Dante Jackson type guys that came in and played their ass off. Like where was that the last 3 years? So I think a lot of that was scheme, and I would just take a look at that, but nothing alarming off the top of my head. My next question, I think for the Saints, it's more of an expectation question, but like with Shuck, with kind of the vibes at the end of the year, do you view this year as a year where you can just make the jump? Like, do you think that you can become a contender? Like in the Saints, like do you think that they can become contenders if they have a good offseason?
I think so, especially given some of the crazy surprises that we've gotten from the Commanders and then, the Patriots. Like these are two teams that nobody thought had the chance to do what they did going into the season. And I mean, if I put myself in the same shoes, I would feel the same way about the Saints in that pessimistic way. But when I look back, I'm like, maybe Tyler Shuck is better than we thought he is. And that's how we thought about Drake May and, Jaden Daniels. It's like we know what they are, but they're not there yet. But maybe Shuck is there and we just don't know it yet. And he's going to be that good. So there's no reason not to believe it either because of what we saw from him in year one. They just need more. They just need more talent, I guess, is the biggest difference. Where both of the Patriots and the Commanders, they definitely got a lot out of players that maybe weren't star power, but there's nothing left but really just bones on the Saints right now. So
yeah, Olave is cool.
He is. Olave, and then like another piece or two I think could do it. Yeah.
Like I think that could be good. It's just bolstering the rest of the offensive line, getting a couple more weapons, finding a running back. And it looks pretty good.
It does. They like you said, they need another weapon. And yeah, I mean, even defensively, they need a game changer somewhere. Like the Patriots paid up for Milton Williams, and that duo with Barmore became game wrecking, and they have Gonzo over there. It's like that really doesn't exist in New Orleans right now, as far as we know. And then, Olave is better than anything the Patriots have, but I would still take the body of work we got from the Patriots receivers this year over what I think the Saints are going to do. AFC South. Let's talk about CJ Stroud, and this is an expectation as well. Is 2026 a make or break year for Stroud?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, it depends how much they invest in that offensive line. Like if they do nothing again, then I think he still gets that benefit of the doubt. But if they give him some help and he has, one of the more well-rounded receiver rooms in the league, if he still fails to even slightly improve upon his rookie season, then yeah, like he might be in danger of losing his job, because right now they do have a Seahawks level, Super Bowl level defense, and it was the offense that kept them from that. So if the quarterback can't figure it out with good weapons, if he can't figure out how to handle a bad offensive line, then it's on him at this point.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, even if Herbert went out sad, at least like throughout the course of the season,
Yeah.
we saw that he could handle it. Maybe it really just is the bright lights and, the big stage thing that gets the most of him. But at least there were times where we're like, okay, yeah, it's bad, but at least Herbert is that good and he can make up for it. We haven't seen that from Stroud since the playoff game against the Chiefs in 2024. So,
Yeah.
like, at what point are you asking yourself, maybe it's not the offensive line as much as we think it is, which I think is what people are starting to really wonder.
Yeah, I think that is fair. All right, my next question. We're moving on to the new division, the Cardinals. Do you think your quarterback is in the building today?
You know what? Yes, I do. I feel like the Cardinals would be silly to let Jacoby Brissett leave. I really think it's so polarizing because, they won like one game with Brissett, but at least he played good football. He developed a good rapport with your weapons. Like, you got more out of Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson with Jacoby Brissett than you've gotten with Kyler ever. And same with McBride. Like, McBride was great to begin with, but he even ascended. So you could probably get a pretty hefty package of capital in return for Kyler and still have an option in a year where you're not really striving for too much. I think they'd be a little crazy to outsource a quarterback given what they have in their room. And even if they end up sticking with Kyler, fine. But out of all of the teams that we've talked about and the landscape of what's available, they are in probably the best situation when it comes to an uncertain quarterbacky type team.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think bringing in Kubiak is going to feel really good compared to the offensive minds they've had, the defensive minded head coaches. Like, I think it's going to feel really, really good to finally have, a possible QB kind of guru, passing game guru. Unlock Trey McBride even more if you can. See if you can figure out Marvin Harrison Jr. You still have Michael Wilson. Like, it feels pretty good over there.
Is Michael Wilson an all-pro?
Maybe. He played like it. For like 8 weeks, he damn near felt like it.
That was probably the craziest insanity run of all time.
Hey, but we knew he was good here. Preseason, I was talking about Michael Wilson.
Yeah, you did.
At least one person thought Michael Wilson was good. Now, I was flamed for it in the Discord. My opening, the first time I joined the Discord, they were like, "This guy thinks Michael Wilson's good, idiot, stupid." Now he's actually good. And shocker. Like, he's good. The good player is good.
Well, how about the Titans? Is Will Levis going to be on the roster come 2026?
Oh man, they speak of him like he will be. He does he not feel like a Dayball guy?
He does.
He kind of does feel like a Dayball guy.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that it's usually overly wise to have two young quarterbacks that are both a little stupid, like backing it, like one starting, one backing him up. I think both quarterbacks would definitely benefit from a Flacco, from a another good development guy in the room. I don't know. I feel like on paper he does feel like he's the guy that should have been. Dayball's the guy that should have been coaching him all along. Like, utilize his legs, utilize his cannon, let him be a doofus, but like use it to his benefit rather than trying to be Callahan's like precision-based quarterback. That was a failure from the get-go. I don't like him as a backup to another kind of developmental dummy talented quarterback. I much prefer him elsewhere, but I don't know. I think Dayball will really like him, and I don't think he'll let him leave.
Add him to the bucket of just like talent that needs to be tapped into, maybe, that you could add and see what happens.
His talent is real. like what he can do when we're talking development, like 6'4", linebacker build, rocket of an arm, but he has touch. Like he's not some stupid like thrower. He can layer and flutter that ball in. It's just the decision making is awful. It is so bad, and he can't see the field. But I do believe in a more specialized role, you could see something there. And in previous Titans, we've seen that before, but it didn't look good last time we saw it.
No, it didn't. But that comeback against Miami was one of the craziest things.
He played great. He played so good. And his opening week against the Falcons was so good.
Of course.
He's had a lot of moments of good. The Steelers game, he was pretty solid. Like he's had moments of good. It's just like the bozo games at 1:00, man. He's so bad. So get that out of your system. I think there is something there. I do see the argument for that, but I don't see him as the backup to another young bozo gene quarterback.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. My next question. For the 49ers, given all like the stupid injuries they have, do you just start like drafting and trying to find premium backups at running back, tight end, receiver? Like, do you like I mean, usually at tight end, they're just like, yeah, Jake Tunges, tight end too. At RB at running back, they usually just like go through their little farm system and hope for the best. But I feel like they've reached a spot in some of these positions where they have to like genuinely invest a lot of money into good, high quality backups now.
Yeah, especially with the luck they seem to have. It would be a good idea, wouldn't it? And they're a team that did it for their quarterback after learning the hard way what it's like to not have one. It's probably about time they start doing the same basically everywhere else, especially with the age of some of these guys. Like McCaffrey's getting up there. He's got a lot of miles on his legs, and Trent Williams, even though I think he's coming back again, he is just ancient. And Nick Bosa's, how old is Nick Bosa? He's probably not the youngest.
He's probably like 29,
30-ish, like coming up an injury.
Yes, 28. 28, but still not young.
No, they're George Kittle, 32, 33. Like their premium players are all of UNC status. So we're getting to a point where it would be better off, instead of trying to, take a swing on another superstar guy, they're in a window of time where you're trying to win. So maybe you just kind of do what the Chiefs were trying to do and just supplement the talent that they have and support the talent that they have and win. And then you can worry about the future.
I agree.
The Jaguars, I asked this question before, but I felt like it was too prevalent not to bring it back up again. Should Travis Hunter be a corner, or should he focus on receiver next year?
I think with the way that this receiver room's looking, I think we just go corner. And it's not even an insult to him. It's just like, if you can, I would still focus on trying to bring BTJ back, because that was, a top 10 talent. So I would focus heavily on getting his mind right. And then you pair that with Jacoby Myers, with Parker Washington. That alone is one of the best receiver trios in football. I think Travis Hunter is a really good supplement to that. You can bring him in package-wise, but I think when we're talking, I think we're talking an all-pro caliber corner here, potentially, that you could unlock if he just fully locks in on that position. Corner is the hardest position in football, in my opinion, outside of quarterback. So asking him to do that and receiver at the same time at the pro level is really, really hard. Part of the reason I loved him so much as a prospect was because I thought that he did have all pro potential at corner, and Pro Bowl potential at receiver. Like, I think he can do either at a very high level, but I think that he should just be an all pro corner.
Yeah, it feels like things have worked out in such a way that they have the luxury of just making that easy choice. Whereas before, you're kind of like, what side of the ball should he play? Where is he going to be best at? Now it's like you have your receiver room figured out. Your corners were borderline the reason why your defense had weaknesses. So just here's your corner replacement, and just kind of call it a day. Like 2 + 2 is 4 kind of thing is where I
Yeah.
feel like we're at with it.
I agree. All right. If you are the Rams, are you trying to find your quarterback of the future right now? Like, do you want to have that insurance for next year, or do you just punt and just pray that he's there next year?
Well, Stafford, I feel like got away from the injury reaper this year.
Yeah.
I don't feel great about that happening again. So I feel like we're not even talking about of the future. I feel like they need to be smart about who they bring in for right now as a backup, just simply because your quarterback's going to be 38. There was a massive scare before last season, and he somehow was not bothered by it. We're one fluky thing away from your entire Super Bowl hopes being flushed down the drain when you're playing with a guy of this like fragileness. So, yeah, I think going into this offseason, my top priority would probably be a backup quarterback now that I really kind of think about it, because without Stafford, you're nothing. So at least if you have something back there that you're like, all right, McVay can work with this, kind of like, Mac Jones with Kyle Shanahan, then it's not a completely dead pipe dream. You at least have confidence in it.
This is the Zach Wilson time.
This
is where we see it.
Add that another guy. There are so many of these like just weird, talented yet young guys that can just be thrown into situations and you can have fun with it.
Yeah.
My last team is the Colts, another trade question. And there are 2 big names on this roster that I feel like are very much up in the air. Will Michael Pittman and or Anthony Richardson be moved by 2026?
Richardson, it feels like he has to be. I mean, like we've talked about also, there's such a lack of quarterbacks available where I think a team could still buy into what he can be and offer up something sweet. Especially if Daniel Jones is gone. They have Riley Leonard. They drafted him. So clearly, like I'm not his biggest fan, but clearly like they are believing him in some way. And they have apparently felt like they needed him to draft him to be their QB3. So I think Richardson could be good as gone. I think Pittman should stay because I do think that Alec Pierce is gone. So if Pierce is gone, then you still got Pittman, Downs, and then you got to find another. But that's not bad. Because I keep forgetting, Jesus, what's his name? Mitchell. AD Mitchell. I keep forgetting he's gone. Because in my head, I was like, oh, yeah, they'll have him. Maybe they could trade Pittman. But I'm like, oh, shit, he's a Jet now. So, yeah, I think that they should keep Pittman. But Richardson, bye.
Yeah. I mean, and Riley Leonard shockingly didn't look like the worst thing ever. Like he very much surprised me. Like there were times watching his playoff run with Notre Dame in his last year where I'm like, this guy is the worst quarterback I've ever seen.
Dude, he couldn't throw.
He
like forward. He couldn't do it. It was crazy.
Like I remember that pass interference against Penn State where he threw up the most blind, idiotic pass toward the end zone into like quadruple coverage, and I saw a flag and he got bailed out for it. I'm like, that was probably the worst decision I've ever seen work out in my life. And that was my opinion of Riley Leonard because that's really all he was. He just kind of ran straight through the ball, very confusing direction sometimes. But he was good. Shane Steichen.
All right. Last question for the team that deserves it, the Seattle Seahawks. What else do you do to make them more dangerous? Do you just bring everybody back, or do you think that you try to up the ante here?
I think we're looking at when you have a defense this good, it's hard to think that it's just going to a defense this good and a head coach that's running the show and not many pieces that are free agents or you have to worry about restructuring. Like you could really make a little bit of a run here. So it would absolutely have to be either on the offensive line, on the inside, or another receiver. Like I think running everything through JSN was really fun. It was pretty unreal that they managed it, But now it's probably time for, if Torrey Horton's not going to be the one to step up, then you go and you get another top tier talented wide receiver too. Like I don't know, DJ Moore is out there. Somebody that's not going to come in and, demand wide receiver targets, like wide receiver one targets, like an AJ Brown per se, but somebody that you can turn to when JSN is seeing bracket coverage, because who else is there really to worry about? So
yeah,
that's probably would be my next thing. And when you're in a position like Seattle, you have the luxury of
true
bolstering. So yeah, I think comfortably another weapon next to JSN.
Sure.
Well, that will finish up our questions for every team going into the offseason. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. You can join the Discord in the description. We have a lot of draft content in the pipeline ready to gear up. We were just, finishing up this season, and we're going to be getting ready for the next couple months because the draft is coming. The combine is going to happen. There is the free agency window. Like, the season is just beginning right now. The dead period is nowhere near as far as I'm concerned. So we have a lot to talk about. So you better hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see you in episode 93.